Today we've got Gary from Shire Martial Arts here, and he's going to have a quick chat to us about martial arts and how it can benefit our kids with ADHD. Thank you so much, Gary, for doing this interview with us.
Hi Sharon, nice to be here.
I'm so excited to have you on board. Now, my kids love going to your martial arts class, and I just wanted to, share with other parents what martial arts can do for their children with ADHD. Now, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and what about your background?
Sure. My name's Gary Simmons, and I'm the founder and the senior chief instructor of Shire Martial Arts, which is a martial arts Taekwondo school based here in the Shire in Sydney. My background is I've been teaching martial arts for just on 30 years and training in it for well over 35 years. And I didn't think I'd be. I'm a 7th Dan black belt, which is my qualification. I'm also an accredited Taekwondo coach, and a level 1 where I have a Taekwondo specific sporting credentials, as well as I've done TAA and TAE Cert 4 in training and assessment. So I'm pretty passionate about teaching and helping people of all ages, kids as well as adults in their in their 60s and beyond. And so I started off martial arts, just for myself as a surfer. I just needed a more regular exercise regime rather than waiting for the waves to be good, especially as I got older and I needed to work. And also, it was a good way to get away from the bad influences which are abound in an area where there's like the surf culture and all that. So for me, it worked really well. So I could turn up to parties late because of training, and it worked quite well for me. And I just kept at it. I didn't plan to. I wanted to get a black belt, but there's no way in the world I thought I was going to get a 7th Dan black belt. And so my working career, I started off in the trades, and then I moved off into journalism, and I worked in radio and television, and then that industry changed a lot with the advent of relay, television stations as relays for the big 4. And so I went into corporate training, and that was good, but it's kind of feast or famine, and so I just really, I just kept training all the way through my life. And I thought, what is it that I like to do, and what am I good at? And it was teaching people Taekwondo. And so I started off part-time Shire Martial Arts in 1995, and then to the day, by coincidence, 10 years later, we opened our first full-time centre, which is in 2005. And here we are, a couple of venues later, but we've outgrown a few venues, and here we are.
That's fantastic. Now, tell me, why is it good for children to learn martial arts?
Well, I think martial arts is, we hear the cliche, body, mind, and spirit, but basically, in real terms, it keeps kids active, with their body, because they want to be active. And with their minds, they have to learn techniques which can be quite challenging. And in the spirit, they've got to work through all of their internal issues. For example, extroverted kids need to learn to keep quiet, give other people a turn, so that they can be heard. And introverted kids need to not hide in the background and become invisible. So it challenges their courage and their resilience, and also it's a way for them to differentiate themselves away from the bosom of mummy, because at home they're mums, these kids just grow like that quickly, and sometimes, especially younger mums, they can't see that these young kids, particularly boys, need to find their own way. And so martial arts, they have these peers, they have role models which they can look up to. And they're doing something which is pretty cool. Like they're learning how to defend themselves against bullies. They're learning how to be quite athletic. They're learning how to be respectful predominantly for themselves, predominantly to their fellow students, their teachers, the school, to me, the community, and their parents. And so that has a flow-on effect with kids.
Now, well, the reason that I love martial arts, not only because my dad used to have his own martial arts school, but because our occupational therapist specifically told, now my boys were doing soccer and and we're quite into rigorous exercise as a form of management for ADHD, but he actually suggested, our occupational therapist suggested that we do martial arts because he wanted the boys to focus on being able to control their movements and not just react to things. So they were doing slow, controlled movements. And he wanted them to learn how to do that and how to control their body with some of the movements that they were doing. So when you have a child with ADHD, do you agree that this, the martial arts, learning that controlled movement is beneficial for these children?
Oh, without a doubt. Now with martial arts, or particularly the way, first of all, the martial arts, know that there's martial arts and there's martial arts. Martial arts I teach, I use it as a vehicle for personal development rather than as a sport. And so I kind of focus on traditional training by trying to teach it in a progressive way. So a lot of the basis is that the concept of yin and yang, or, opposites, So we do have, the slow movements, and then we have the full speed, full power, jump up in the air, spin, spinning, jumping, flying kicks. But then we have also, the slower movements. And so, it's good for the kids to understand the difference, and as well as, work to a command when an instructor says, no, 1, 2, or the sound. And also I find it's good for kids because I think I've had a lot of kids suffer, really profound anxiety from all ages, from really young ones to even to adults. And I found that I've done a little bit of research that I think they have a lot of have like stress inside, and so that movement, it releases the hormones. I'm not sure of the cortisol, I think it is, and it releases that, and so the best way to burn that off is with movement and energy. And then sometimes when the anxiety rises into a panic attack, they just want to sit down and put their head on their knees, which is probably one of the worst things they can do. But you can't tell anyone, especially a kid, don't do that when they're probably freaking out at these horrible feelings that they're having. And so we try and over here with our instructors, we don't yell them, oh, come on, no, you can do better than that. And they're going, oh, well, that's no good. Well, maybe just have a bit of a sit down and see how you go. Then we always go back to them, oh, do you want to try this? Do you want to try that? And quite often they will. And also at our school, if kids are suffering severe anxiety, we have a couple of sessions that I call tutorials, which like a drop-in class. And so the kid can come in away from the class environment, and we can give a bit of a one-on-one attention and make them feel good about themselves. And so they have a place that's nice. And sometimes we've had some really great success with that. And sometimes even that doesn't work and we lose them. So so I lost my train of thought there.
No, that's okay. So, listen, when we were looking for martial arts schools, we actually did about 6 trials with different schools.
Oh.
And what I was looking for is a instructor that could command the group. And some of them, they were just running around like wild animals. And I thought, oh, well, my kids can do that at home. They're perfectly okay to run. They know how to run around like wild animals. What I wanted them to do is to learn that discipline and respect and those sorts of things. And that's what your school brought to the boys. So how do you know that it's the right school instructor for you? Like, what tips can you give for parents?
Oh, yeah, that is a big one, isn't it? Well, before we get started, I did write an article about this. I really gave it a lot of thought, and it's on my website, shiremartialarts.com.au, and you'll see how to find the right school for you. But basically, I have a few checklists because some people, they want to do competitions and sport and stuff like that, and there's nothing wrong with that, and that is a big part of martial arts, even Taekwondo. It's in the Olympics, but that's not what we want to do. And so so first of all, you've got to ascertain whether the school is competition based, and also there's 2 types of martial arts in regards to, there's the wrestling around on the floor type, like judo, or the flavor, the newest flavor is BJJ, wrestling around on the floor, and then there's the striking martial arts such as karate and Taekwondo. So they're the 2. I'm a bit biased being a 7th Dan Taekwondo
Yeah.
instructor. You've, by wrestling around, you need a partner always on top of you and in your face. And so that can be a bit confronting for kids. And especially if there's a girl, and there's not so many girls. I've heard a few problems like that where girls are stuck with boys and then they're wrestling around on the floor. And we do takedowns and things like that. So they're the two, striking or wrestling. And then competition and non-competition. And then we have to look at the ethos of the school. Is the instructor a full-time professional, or is he just like in a school hall, just sort of like doing it once or twice a week because some instructors, they have as many branches as possible, unfortunately, and they just put someone who's basically a newbie, promote them to black belt. I don't like to dish on my industry, but sadly that is the case. And then they have all these little satellite schools, and they just have all the kids in it. They don't have any control, and they don't have structure. So we have a curriculum and a structure right from the moment they make contact with us, right up to being black belt. And so that's really important as well. And then you got to have our schools run with a student creed. So everything we do is based on our student creed. Where our student, I'll try. Okay, I'm at Shire Martial Arts. I should remember. So
I know the little one, the little dolphins one.
Yeah, we have a little dolphins one, which but for every single student from kids from say 7 years old right up to adults, before every single class, it goes like this: I'll constantly seek strength for my body, knowledge for my mind, and integrity in my spirit. I'll respect all people and always approach others in the spirit of friendship and charity. I'm committed to being confident, modest, patient, self-disciplined, and responsible for myself. I'll only use the skills I learn in a positive and ethical way. So for a kid, it can be a bunch of words, but we work through that. So, so for the school too, for example, if someone gives me money, I pocket it. I always give receipts. I always have ethical financial transactions. If I make a mistake or my team makes a mistake, we try and fix it. And it's not about us and our egos. It's about the students, because without students, we're just people in black or white uniforms or blue uniforms, just in this room. So that's a really important part of, I believe, to be a good school, when it's focused on the students and not about the instructors and all their trophies and medals and all that sort of stuff. And all these little money grabs here, there, and everywhere. It's got to be up front and running like that. So you get a bit of a feeling for it, and mistakes get made, as I said. But if it's a good school, you sit down and talk, and apologies and things get said, because we're human and we're people, and so you've got to have that relationship with the kids, and because they're kids, you've got to have a relationship with the family. And so that's what we try and do, and what I recommend. So check out the article. It's quite long. I've got 9 points, and I really sort of like look into that, into the what makes a good school and what you should look out for.
So it's definitely something that people should investigate, because it's important to find the right school to match their child in particular, and the right instructors to match their children in particular.
So if you don't live in Sydney, it's just a guideline, because I get asked all the time, and to get put on the spot. So one day I just sat down, I really wrote it out, what I believe anyway.
Now, some of our ADHD kids have some challenging behaviours. And how do you handle these in class with our ADHD?
Well, I think a lot of people, with kids, I always treat people like people, whether they're kids or they're adults. And so unacceptable behaviour is unacceptable, no matter if someone's got ADHD or not. We've worked with some mental illness in our family, and so I'm no stranger to it. And if you go, oh, the poor thing, like that, just let them do what they like. And it doesn't serve anybody. It doesn't serve. So I have to have, so I try and just have rules. The rules are enforced. Without the rules, if you break the rules, there's consequences. So I use the analogy like the traffic cop. If you get booked, the traffic cop doesn't come running out, right, you were 20 Ks over the limit. He goes over, oh, hello. And you go, not that I've been booked for a while. You go, but I remember in my young, you go, oh, hello. He goes, oh, so the team went well this week, didn't they? You go, oh yeah, they did, yeah. And he sort of, and you think of yourself, oh, he's not a bad bloke. And he's sort of like busy looking at the car like that, and then he's chatting with you, and then he goes, okay, well, it's a what's on for the weekend? You go, oh, not much. Yeah, I should, He goes, okay, then, well, here you go. And he hands over a ticket, and it's $200. He just enforces the rules. He doesn't make this big song and dance. He doesn't make the rules. You broke them. These are consequences. Here you go.
Yeah.
So I do that, and sometimes if a kid can't sort of like see that, maybe they can't work in this community group with us. Otherwise, we don't have the resources. We have a lot of resources, but with real, I've had a couple of kids. I've just said, no, I'm sorry, it's just not going to work here because they don't have that ability to follow directions at all. So if they can do that, they follow the rules, and then when we speak to them, I go down to their eye level and chat to them, and we have a system here called PCP, praise, correct, praise. I like the way you're doing that. You started the class off really, really well, but when you're doing that, you're interrupting everybody. And I have the example. Okay, when I count to 3, I want everybody to talk at once. Ready? 1, 2, 3, and everyone. Blah, blah, blah. And I say, if anybody can hear me, I'll give you a free sticker like that. I go, stop. I say, okay. So who heard what I said? You know, no. So bad luck, guys, because if everyone was talking at once, I was going to hand out free stickers. So there you go. And so you got to learn not to do it, okay? And if someone's like deliberately say it's strike, we have 3 strikes. So strike 1, please don't do that, Timmy. Strike 2, Timmy, I told you I don't want you to do that. And if you do it again, because you're disturbing everybody, I'm going to have to get you to do a bit of a timeout. And usually it's the extroverted kids who want to be the center of attention. So if it's strike 3, the instructors, the team members will say, oh, just Timmy, just bow like that. Go and see Gwanjadim Gary, that's me. Or if I catch them, I say, oh, come on, Timmy, come with me. And I'll just put them, I don't shame them, I just put them sort of out away from the group so their eye line is not, so they're not sort of like doing faces and stuff like that. And usually I turn my back to them and sort of like, and just ignore them. I call it ignorable behavior. And then we just direct the class to do so. And then I start praising other kids who are doing things really well, going, wow, that kick was full. And we have this system of points. So if a student does something good, we give them a point. What the points are for, I haven't quite figured that one out, but it's basically, it's a tangible piece of acknowledgement. So we have the red team and the blue team. Wow, the red team's so, the red team's so lucky. This is your 3rd point for today. And the kids are feeling good about themselves, and the other kids are sitting there looking at my legs. And then once again, I'll look around and go, so, oh, geez, Timmy, I'd really like to get back in the class, but no, you're causing that many problems. Do you reckon you could get back in there? Do you want to sit there, and be at the back and not get the black stripe after class? Like we give them a little. We have a system where they get another piece of acknowledgement for finishing a class. We give them this bit of tape that goes around their belt, which the kids
they're very serious about it. Yeah,
they're very serious about it. Yeah. Or do you want to join in? And the kid, I want to join in, but you got to promise that you're not going to disrupt the class. Remember when you're doing what you're doing, and I get them to articulate what they were doing wrong. Okay, well look, let's go back. And so they bow. You shake on it, and they shake. And then now I want you to go and apologise to the instructor, because we have a lot of we have different tiers of instructors, and some of them are quite young. So little Timmy or Susie goes and bows to the instructor and goes, I'm sorry for doing that. And they're okay then, and then it's just forgotten. And then just move on. We don't hold grudges, just forgotten. If they're a serial offender, well, I brief the team to look out for that kid. And then I've never really had to chuck anyone out, but we just have to sort of like make sure that they don't run riot, because if people with ADHD, if they didn't have rules and boundaries, they'd rule the world. And we'd be running around just like, under siege with all these people just running around, do whatever they like. And that doesn't serve them, and it doesn't serve us. And so we have to have firm yet clear boundaries. And
I'm of the same opinion. I think that kids do the best, and especially ADHD kids do the best when they have clear boundaries. If the boundaries are clear, where people get into trouble is if they don't have clear boundaries, and they keep changing where the goalposts are.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
the ADHD kid is actually comforted by routine and structure.
They are. Yeah. And
Yeah.
kids with anxiety and people on the autistic spectrum, which is becoming more and more evident. It's such a huge problem with people on that spectrum, and they need boundaries as well.
Mm.
So that is a challenge. And I guess with an organisation like ours, we do attract a lot of kids with these issues. And so I had a problem with the school. So do we have everything? I wouldn't say dumbed down, but we sort of like pare everything down so these kids can cope. And then the kids with talent, they'd get bored. So I then put an accelerated learning program in to encourage the kids who are keen to let them run as far and high as they like, where the kids who need extra work, they don't get left behind, but they can't, accelerate. So it's kind of work with have badges and stripes and systems and stuff like that.
So my son in particular is particularly gifted when it comes to sport because he has the ability to hyper-focus, right? So he can, if it's something that's interesting to him, he hyper-focuses. So he could be quite a contender for, being, excelling in martial arts, if he chooses. I took him to a tennis lesson and he was, like easily the best player on the thing, and it was his first lesson. He just has that ability to do it. So but he's still going through your programs, got to learn the rules. He's got to learn, the lessons that you teach them through martial arts. One of the things that I like about martial arts is how much it builds up their self-esteem. Although there is rules, and we've talked about some of the challenging behaviors, there is a lot of praise and a lot of good things that like he is getting a lot of self-confidence through martial arts. So can you talk to me a little bit about how it builds up their self-esteem?
Yeah, we have an ethos here where we catch even the most difficult kid. We have a system we call catch them doing something right. So that's how I originally brought the point system in, because you call them out because as everyone's probably familiar, the favorite sound of a human being is their own name. And so you could say, Timmy, what team are you in? Going, that was an awesome kick. Do you see it? Show them, everybody. Timmy, show that kick. Let's give him a round of applause. Blue team, blue, one strike, 1 point for blue. So by using their name and catch them doing something right, it has a huge effect. And you can see the other ones trying. They're trying really, really hard. So we teach, and sometimes it's difficult. We publicly praise and privately reprimand. And sometimes, I've been guilty. I stuff that up. If there's any risk or danger, you can sort of say stuff. But generally, we try and do that. And if the kid is being sort of if they've got ignorable behaviour, we try and sort of like build them up and go on. I'll say, oh, come on, like pay attention. We're doing this kick. And then I'll make sure I come around a minute later. Oh, that's much better. Yeah, like that. Give me a high five, because the high fives. I resisted them for many years, thinking it's American cousins. But for the kids, we have such a homogenized culture these days that they really relate to high fives. And so for us, it's just high five. Yeah, that's awesome. Give them a point. And so we have these ways of talking them up, and then at the end of each class, excuse me a second, I'll just get this bit of tape. We put a bit of black tape on the end of the kid's belt, and so I have about 10 to 20 seconds of interacting with that kid and going, wow, that was a good class today, Timmy. I really saw you're getting it, and I can't believe it. Next month you could be a green belt or blue. Add color here. Yeah. You could be one of them, and you've come such a long way. Keep it up, please. I'm really pleased with it. And so, being an authority figure, they hear that from me. They go, wow, they're feeling quite chuffed. And plus, they know they have boundaries with me. I'll come down on like a ton of bricks, but I also give them lots of praise, so they know where they stand.
So what do you do in terms of, like, how does it teach our kids discipline? I know that we did, you get the teacher to sign a form and the parents to sign a form and saying that they're trying their best. Like, how does martial arts teach a child discipline?
Well, first of all, we have the lines of class. Once again, if you go on our website, you click on kids, you'll see big dolphins, and you'll see the kids lined up there reciting that student creed that I said before, and all standing there like that. And I have a saying, it drives my wife crazy. I say, no itching, scratching, moving, wiping, looking, talking, fidgeting. Like that. No discipline. She's a yoga teacher. She, why do you say? I said, because no, it's about discipline, and the kids are aware of it, and it's just like, it's serious, but it's kind of a joke, but it's also quite serious. And so by teaching the kids about that, you know, and about, you know, attention, you know, then we have, you know, ready and things like that. They're all moving in unison, and if they we also use a lot of sound with the voice of the hey, with the martial arts, we call that a gi hap or yell. So putting that movement and that breath and the voice together really helps them to and if they go hey like that, we sort of go, come on, what's that, you know, you're going, hey, pass the tomato sauce, mum, you know, and so we get them to sort of really to dig deep, and we do like push-ups, and we have a system once a month. They work on their PBs or personal best. Back in the old days, one belt had to do 5 push-ups, the next one 10, 15, 20, but there's some kids, you know, like your son, he could probably snap off 20 right from the get-go. So we have a system of PBs, personal best. So once a month we put them through push-ups. I used to do sit-ups, but I got rid of that last year because kids can't do sit-ups. So leg raises is to work on their abs, and some gentle stretching, so they can sort of see themselves getting better and better and better. And so the idea is on skipping. So I call it JPMs, jumps per minute, so that they get to jump and they can sort of see their rate improving. And so, which takes discipline. And also, if they're talking and they're disrupting the class, as I said earlier, I'll just come down on them, and it's not acceptable, because the action of one can really, I don't say individually, I say as a group. You know, if you're talking or itching, scratching, moving, you're stealing. This is stealing, because Sarah over there, she comes here to learn Taekwondo, and then the sub-NMs instructors are busy sort of like, you know, working on kids and mucking around. She's not getting the Taekwondo that she wanted, so it's kind of like we're stealing from her. You know, who's ever had something and sort of put this into it, and they put it into context, and so they've got the discipline, you know, and I keep them in that position. With the little kids, I get them stand there like that, and I go around and I go, hey, we don't want any dirt bikes in here, and they look around like that. I go, oh, geez, some kids, when I said that, they'll stand. They have lots of self-discipline. They didn't move, but other kids are looking around like that. And I go around and go, no one here wants free Barbie dolls. Get them out of here, please. And then they can.
So you're testing their self-discipline,
and making them aware of it, and bringing it to the table, and go, wow, everyone has self-discipline there. You know, imagine, you know, and so on. And we do it week in and week out, as you've got to do with kids, and so it's on the table, and then before they get a belt. So over here, often it's yes, because we address instructors with yes sir or yes miss, and so it's all yes sir, no sir, yes miss, no miss. But we have problems. It's quite common where they're running amok at home, and so and so we have chats about, we have what we call mat chats, where we talk about, you know, applying what we learn here, and then the student creed comes into it, and then at school. So before they get a belt, not a belt, I mean a belt to wear, they've got to fill out a form. So the kid fills out the form, lists 3 areas where you've shown improvement, and so it's there, and then there's have you been practicing? Have you just applying yourself? Tick, tick, tick. So lots of yeses. And then mum and dad. So has a student showed gratitude for paying their fees and driving the class? Yes, no. Has a student cheerfully do their household chores? Yes, no. Has a student show respect of parents and family members? Yes, no. And so, and the same with school homework, you know, like that. So if there's any, usually yes, I can run my eye. Yes, 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 yes. If there's a no, just boom, a red flag. I go, hey, come here. So remember, we do the student creed. No, that part here, I'll approach others in the spirit of friend. Yeah, well, look at there. And I showed it to them and said, what's going on? What's going on with this? You know, you're great here, but at home, it seems like, no, that there's some problems. And they're sweating bullets, you know. like that. And I said, well, I'm really disappointed because I'm surprised because you're such an awesome student here, but at home there's all these problems. And then, oh, Mum, come over. And usually I set up with Mum previously. What's going on? Mum's told me the problem. And oh, geez. I said, do you have clean clothes this morning? Yes. Are you going to eat well at dinner tonight? Yeah. Well, you got to look after your mum. I said, look, I can't have anyone like this get up to the next belt. Pause, bullets, coming out even more. I said, are you one of these humans? And he goes, yeah. I said, look, everyone makes mistakes. Like, I made one once. And so it's just like a little comedy routine. So, right. What I want you to do, and I've got this system, it's basically this checklist, so lots of things, clean your teeth, hang your towel up, blah, 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 but all these things. But behavioural-wise, kept my temper. And so they put it on the fridge, and it goes, I've got a week for 1 week. So there's 3 crosses or 3 transgressions. They don't get their belt. And if they can get through the week, they get their belt. And I'll give them a sticker, and they go, wow, I knew you could do it, and that's been a really, really successful method. And I also have one that goes for a month like that. And sometimes, and it breaks my heart when I don't give them a belt because they really invested in it. But I've got to have it. And then if I hold it back once, it's usually only once, unless the kid really has a lot of problems, and then that may not be the right method. So,
well, I remember you having to have that chat with my boys about fighting. And actually it was quite good because just to have another strong male role model telling them, because I think a lot of the time they get a lot of females, like teachers are predominantly female these days, telling them what to do. And I think that having a strong male role model telling them that behaviour is not acceptable is actually quite was quite powerful for them.
And telling like mum, like she's got to run around here, who got you here, who's there, who put your head, mum looks after you clean dishes, like that, and just really sort of spell it out to them, and they get it.
It's interesting. Most of the time. Well, look, I think martial arts has done wonders for my sons, and to tell you the truth, going in, I thought it could have gone either way with Xavier, because he sometimes doesn't want to participate in things, but he has absolutely loved it, and he is always asking me to go, and he is really has taken it very seriously, and getting the belts for him actually means something.
It does.
Often saying to children, I'll buy you an ice cream or whatever. It's just such a throwaway thing, whereas this is something he has to work towards, and he's really proud of it. So, I do believe that it has such a good place for the finding the right school is important for an ADHD parent,
And giving kids sugar, especially kids age. Don't get me on a sugar rant. We have birthday parties here, and we make them sugar free. They bring a cake in, so it's sugar free. We don't give them any lollies, nothing. There's they give them water. There's just such a it just doesn't hurt kids at all. And so I was with your son. He really wants to impress me, and so he comes in. Oh, guess what? I've got this and I've got that, and he wants to tell me his news. And I go, oh wow, that's awesome. So he wants to please a senior. He wants to please a role model and get approval, which I give. And sometimes a little bit over exuberant. Go, okay, well that's enough now. Okay, let's got to concentrate on the other kids. But you can see his heart's in the right place, and he really wants to do that. And so maybe that's what other kids do. They just want to get approval that they are doing good things, and they are talented.
Well, that's the bit. It's the praise, and he genuinely believes the praise as well, which is so good, because so many of these ADHD kids have so much self-esteem issues, and if you're giving them the tools to excel in something, and they know that you mean it when you're saying it, they've got clear boundaries and everything like that, it can only be good. At the end of the day, they have to fit in with life, and life has discipline and has rules, and has you have to be socially acceptable. And I think this is a good way of modeling that for them, it's teaching them how to have those behaviors, how to be socially acceptable.
Definitely, Sharon. Yeah. And high school, wow, that's a whole new different story. And so we've been through some issues, and when the testosterone hits, oh boy, Yeah, with boys,
Yeah.
watch out, and it's a whole different ball game. But yeah, a white knuckle trip.
Oh, well, thank you so much for speaking to us today, Gary. I'm really happy to have my children as a part of your school, and I think I'm looking forward to seeing when they're in your position in that black suit.
Okay, well, I look forward to seeing them. They're lovely boys, and if anyone listening to this, even if you're not in my local area, or for whatever reason you can't train, I have a few resources available. So if you go to my website, shiremartialarts.com.au, if you go down the bottom, contact us, they'll go directly to me, and if I can help out at all, I'm more than happy to do that.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you, Gary.
Okay, Sharon,